presenting Riveting Revolution, Wartime Economic Tragedy, and the Triumph of American Women. Leonard, could you tidy up a bit in there? We'll have guests over soon. I know they won't be going in our room, but all the same. Well, I suppose I'd better prepare what I'll say. I'm so flattered that a student would want to interview me, Ruth Mullis, for a project on Rosie the Riveter. I do wish more people realized what we actually did for today's world, so that's what I'll try to get across. Let's see, how should I put this? I know. When World War II reached America, over 10 million men were drafted into the military, and this tragedy tore apart families and businesses all over the country. It also, for one of the first times in history, required the people in various factories and workplaces to be largely made up of women. A certain singing group by the name of the Four Vagabonds performed a song called Rosie the Riveter about a woman like me working in the factories in 1943. And that name and that symbol boomed in popularity. I think Rosie has more than proved to be a triumph in women's rights, and those of us who bear the title have taught independence and strength to generations to come. See, look here. This is an article from the Times-Picayune, October 16th, 1940. It reads, Washington, October 15th. The nation's young men will place themselves at their country's call for military training tomorrow in the first draft registration ever conducted with America at peace. Yes, this does take me back. Picture this. It's a fine day in Miami, at least as far as the weather is concerned. The people, on the other hand, are all getting anxious thanks to the danger our coastal location puts us in war-wise, but more importantly because of the economy. To get any sort of luxury at all, be it food, gasoline, etc., you'd need this. A ration book full of stamps. Once you're out of stamps, you're out of luck. Not only this, but the number of workers needed for factories is going up, and the number of workers to supply is going down. All the suitable young men had to sign up for the draft and are rapidly being called on. And I, a young Ruth Wall, am waiting to hear from my boyfriend, Ted Johnson, who hasn't been drafted. Yet. Oh, that must be him now. Hello? Yes. You're short. The Navy? No, okay, come see me tomorrow, right? Good. Change of plans. Ted's boss works for the draft board, and he's just been informed that Ted's number is coming up. That means he won't have much choice. He's got to join the military. What he's just told me, though, is that he's off to join the Navy because he'd rather be at sea than fighting on land. It's not an unusual choice, per se. After all, volunteering is a choice about 40% of the current military has made. But as for where this leaves me and women like me, it's only natural to want to help. So the path I've chosen is to enter the field so many women have at this point, riveting. My days trying as a riveter. I was terrible at it. You see, with a riveting gun, you had to get each rivet just right or else the whole thing fell apart. I watched the women around me doing it perfectly when I went to school for it, and I flunked out 3 times. But if we weren't so hard, we wouldn't have gotten Rosie the Riveter to cheer them on. The writers, Brett Evans and John Jacob Lowe, wrote the song Rosie the Riveter, performed by, like I said, the Four Vagabonds in February of 1943. It went something like this.
She's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the Riveter keeps a shot.
Of course, Rosie the Riveter was only the catchy title. There was never actually a real Rosie, but the icon stuck around. Wait, somewhere I have a copy of the Saturday Evening Post with her picture on it. See? Notice how she's not wearing a skirt. Totally unheard of before this point. In fact, the artist, Norman Rockwell, apologized for certain errors in her design. He's quoted as having said, I drew Rosie as was wearing both an isinglass protective shield and goggles. I don't think riveters use both. It was silly of me. Now, this is huge. People actually cared and noticed how an artist was depicting a female worker wrong. A female worker. Oh yes, something else before I pass. I might have made a terrible riveter, but I soon found my calling as a template maker. I've always been great with figures, so this job is perfect. You see, in my position, I don't need to wear pants for safety reasons. Rather, they are the fashion of the time, so I wear them anyway. I don't even have to cover my hair. I'm paid more than other women, about $1.30 per hour to their 65 cents, if you can believe it. And I'm more comfortable, just because I'm good at math. I even got to be in the newspaper for a little pin I invented to fix machines that aren't working just right. Yes, it is truly the height of female independence, but we know it won't last forever. We're fighting to win the war, but lose our right to work in the process. I must say, I understand the people who want us out. Many of the men were forced out of their jobs, which they were rather comfortable in, and which were their primary sources of income, to go risk their lives, so I can only imagine what it would be like to come back and find that you were no longer allowed to have that position. They think that without all women staying at home with the children, where they belong, the society might crumble under the weight of its own chaos. After all, this is all they know. In fact, this is a comic I found the other day from the Des Moines Register that illustrates this perfectly. So, they fear we won't go peacefully. Well, they'd be right. When the men returned home from war, the major companies like Ford tried to rid themselves of their women. And in the case of Ford, the number of women at work dropped over 15,000. But we weren't swayed. We had been shown our worth as strong, independent human beings, and just as capable of everything men were as they were, and we weren't ready to give that up. Despite the drop in the late 40s and early 50s, the number of women at work never went down to pre-war standards. I, for instance, kept in jobs of a similar type to the work I was doing for many years. And another woman, Gladys Fletcher, has said that, I went to school for 4 hours after work each day so that when I got out of there, I could get a job welding because I really enjoyed it. The 50s were a hard time for those of us who weren't ready to give up our positions, but our persistence would prove worth it. Because over time, Rosie the Riveter has become associated with more than just propaganda. This poster started being associated with the label, and it has become the most popular version, the We Can Do It poster, being recreated 1,000 times by everyone from cartoons to Beyonce. There is a reason it came to relate to feminism, though. It is my belief that without Rosie the Riveter, women today wouldn't have the jobs that they have or be able to wear what they want to. And that's really why Rosie is so important. Oh, what's this? Oh, there's one more thing I must show when that young lady arrives. This is a token I received from a show I went to some time ago. Song lyrics that speak to the work we did and how important it was, by Eric Lane Barnes. There was no trail, you blazed your own. You broke the ground and set the stone. You built the bridge and led the way. The lamp you carried burns bright today. The doors you opened are open still. Some have forgotten. We never will. Now, isn't that nice? I suppose I should put all of these things away. After all, she'll be here at any moment now. Oh, and there she is. What's it been now? 70 years? And yet I still remember nearly everything. But my story isn't the only important one. Millions of women, men, and even some children fought to defend what we benefit from today. I just hope that can be recognized. Oh, I'm so excited for this interview.